the staff, they have discussed about the income tax and what are the previous year and the assessment year and the allowance, etc. Now I am going to present the perquisites. The perquisites is nothing but allowance. Apart from that, benefit or privileges that are provided in addition to the salary and the allowances. There are three categories of perquisites. Number one, it will be taxable in all cases. Number two, it will be taxable only in case of specified employee. And the number three, it is not taxable perquisites. Now let us see one by one. Number one, taxable in all cases. In that, rent-free accommodations. In that, we have to calculate two things. One is unfurnished accommodation and the furnished accommodation. So let us see one by one. Number one, value of rent accommodation, that we have to calculate unfurnished accommodation. There you have to see two things. One is government employee and the non-government employee. At a government employee, the amount will be determined as per the government rule. And in the next category, other employee, that is nothing but it will be owned by the employer in a city having a population. It may be a range between 25 lakhs, more than 25 lakhs population. And the number two category, it will be exceeding 10 lakhs population between up to 25 lakhs. And the third category will be up to 10 lakhs. As I told already, there are two things. One is government employee and another one is other employee. In case of government employee, as I told, that amount determined as per the government rule. In case of other employee, you have to see to that the population, whether it is exceeding 25 lakhs. Suppose in case if it is exceeding 25 lakhs, the percentage to be calculated will be 15% of salary. Number two, when it is exceeding 10% of 10 lakhs and it ranges between 25 lakhs, then in that category you have to calculate 10% of salary. And the third category, if the population range is 10 lakh, then in that case you have to calculate 7.5% of the salary. That the two things you have to see to that, whether it is owned by the employer or it is hired by the employer. If it is hired by the employer, whatever may be that population, the same rule which you have to apply is 15% of salary or the higher charges which is paid by the employer. Whichever is less, it will be taxable. The value of furnished house. As I started earlier, that value of unfurnished house, how you have to calculate. Number one, as you calculate, suppose the population range more than 25 lakh, then in that case, you will be calculating 15% of salary if it is owned by the employer. In that case, that will be termed as a value of unfurnished house. Then if suppose any cost of furniture that has been provided by the employer to the employee, in that case, you have to calculate 10% of the cost of furniture that should be added along with the value of unfurnished house. Then what are the rent charges has been paid by the employee, that has to be deducted. That will be termed as a value of accommodation. Next, we will see the illustration which will be more clear to you. Number one, a company has provided residential accommodation to an employee. From the following information, find out the value of perquisites of the accommodation. Now you have to see that whether the employee is provided or owned by that employer or hired by the employer. In this problem, it has been provided to an employee. That means it is owned by the employer. So example, that in the problem it has been given fair rented value of the house's annual value is 70,000 and the salary has been given 6,10,000. The house is situated in a city whose population is more than 25 lakhs and the house is situated in a city whose population is less than 10 lakhs. In that case, as I told you earlier, the rules, in case the population is more than 25 lakhs, the value of perquisites will be 15% of salary. When you calculate on the salary 6 lakh, it comes up to 90,000. In that case, fair rented value should not be taken into consideration. So the value of unfurnished accommodation will be 90,000. So the value of unfurnished accommodation will be 90,000. Number two, if the population is less than 10 lakh population, in that case, it has to be calculated 7.5% of the salary. 7.5 on the salary, when you calculate 6 lakh, it comes up to 45,000. Here also, the fair rented value should not be considered since it is owned by the employer. So the next one, when you see that a company took a house on rent and allotted to its employee. From the following information, find out the value of perquisite or accommodation. In this problem, earlier it has been owned by the employer, but in this problem, the employer is hired by the house or hired by that house, that is rented by the employer. In that case, that example has been given. Rent paid for the year is 60,000, salary is 5 lakh, cost of furniture provided 60,000, and rent charge from the employee per month is being given as 1,000. That solution will be the value of accommodation. As I told that, whatever may be that population, in case if it is hired by the employer, in that case you have to calculate 15% of salary or actual rent, whichever is less will be termed as a value of unfurnished accommodation. In that case, 15% of salary will be 5 lakh and the rent paid is 60,000. Whichever is less, when you calculate 75,000 or 60,000, whichever is less will be taken as 60,000. As I told you earlier, the cost of furniture, that is you have to calculate 10% of the cost of furniture, that is 60,000. When you calculate, it comes up to rupees 6,000. So the total will be 66,000. Here, that employee has paid a rent. In that case, it is to be reduced by the amount. So rent paid by the employee. How much they are paid? 1,000 per month. So when you calculate per month, in a year it consists of 12 months. So 12,000. So value of accommodation will be 54,000. I think so. It is clear with that example that the value of accommodation, how to calculate. The next one. Accommodations provided in a hotel. The accommodation provided in a hotel, in that case, it is provided if the person or the employee is residing or he is staying in a hotel, if it is less than 15 days, in that case it will be exempted, not taxable. When he stays more than 15 days, in that case it will be taxable. In that case, the PERS will be calculated as follows: 24% of the salary or actual charges paid or payable by the employer, whichever is less will be termed as a value of accommodation, that will be reduced by the employee. Once again I will tell that, in case the employee is staying in a hotel, in that case you have to see the two conditions. Whether he stayed in a hotel for less than 15 days, in that case it will not be taxable. When he stay more than 15 days, then it will be taxable. In that case you have to calculate 24% of the salary or the payable by the employer as a rent, whichever is less should be taken. That amount should be reduced by them. If any amount rent is paid by the employee, then in that case it should be deducted. That will be termed as a value of accommodation. As I told that accommodation to be calculated when he stayed in a hotel, in that case I had told that 24% of the salary to be taken or the rent payable by the employer, whichever is less should be taken, and deduct that amount which is paid by the employee. Here we can see that with an example. X is appointed at Kolkata. He stayed in a hotel for 25 days. Determine the taxable or perquisite stay in a hotel. In that case, the room rent in hotel per day it has paid 1,000 rupees. Salary of valuation of accommodation during the pay is 3,65,000. And the employer recovered 100 per day from X regarding stay in hotel. As I told that when he stay in a hotel for more than 15 days, it will be taxable. Here he stayed in a hotel for a period of 25 days. I can clear with that example. He stayed for more than 25 days. So 25 days in a year it consists of 365 days. As I told that 24% of the salary to be taken. The salary which has been given in the problem is 3,65,000. So when you apply this, it comes up to rupees 6,000 or 25,000. Whichever is less. That is, whichever is the room rent which is paid by the employer is 6,000. As we calculated is 25,000. Whichever is less will be taken as 6,000. The amount recovered from the X is nothing but per day. He paid rupees 100 rupees. He stayed in a hotel of rupees for 25 days. Therefore, he paid rupees 2,500. So the remaining 3,500 will be termed as a value of perquisites.
the value of free food and beverage. In that case, the valuation will be the expenditure incurred by the employer and amount recovered from the employee, that is to be deducted from the amount paid by the employer. Exception in that case, when tea or the snacks has been provided during the official hour, then in that case it will be exempted. Likewise, the food which has been provided during the official hour, it will be exempted. But if during the working hour in office premises, it will be permitted only up to ₹50 per month. When it is exceed ₹50 per month, then the remaining amount will be taxable. Next one, gift. This will also be taxable in all cases. Any gift or voucher or token, it will be fully taxable. The next, club payment or the credit card, which has been provided by the employer to the employee, which will be taxable. In that case, what is the valuation of the perquisites will be the amount paid less, as we see earlier, the amount paid by the employer less amount recovered from the employee, that will be termed as a value of perquisites. In that case also it will be exempted only if it is used for the official purpose, not for private purpose. If you use for private purpose, it will not be exempted, it will be taxable. The next, employer keeps full detail for that. If any enquiry is needed, it is spent only for the official purpose. The employer has to keep a full record. The next one, employer certified, it is only utilized for the official use. The next one, the perquisites will be second category. First one is taxable only in case of all employee. Number two, taxable only in the case of specified employee. Specified employee is nothing but he may be a director employee, he may be a full-time director or part-time director. Number two, he should have a substantial interest in the company. That means 20% of voting right he should have. And the number three, he should draw a salary more than 50,000 during the previous year. That will be termed as a specified employee. Once again I will repeat, the specified employee is nothing but a person who is earning more than 50,000 and he should be a director, and the next one, he should have a substantial interest in the company. The following perquisites are be taxable in the case of specified employee. Number one, free supply of gas, water and the electricity. In that case, we have to see the two things. One, it will be manufactured by the employer itself. Next, it will be number two, it will be hired by the employer. Whatever may be the valuation will be the expenses paid by the employer deducted by the amount recovered from the employee. Next, facility of car. You have to see that there are two types of car. One is large car and the small car. What is the thing we have to see that? How we identify the large car and the small car? If the cubic capacity of the car is more than 1.6, in that case it will be termed as a large car. If it is less than 1.6 cubic, in that case it will be termed as a small car. The valuation of use of car will be taxable money in case of specified employee. Then in that case also you have to think two things, a more important one. One car, if it is owned and hired by the employer and it is provided to the employee for three uses. One is fully if it is for official use, when it is utilized fully for personal use, or if it is used for mixed one. How to calculate the value of perquisite, we'll see later. And the next one is more than one car is provided by the employer for personal use or for official use. In that case, we have to see to that one car will be taken as a mixed use and other one will be taken as a personal use of the employee. The next one, if it is owned by the hired by the employer and provided to the employee, in that case you have to see if it is for official use, then it is fully exempted. In that case, the value of perquisites will be nil. In case of fully it is utilized for the personal use, in that case actual expenditure of running and maintenance of that particular thing, and plus it should be added with the remuneration of driver. Chauffeur, you can say that instead of driver, you will be used to say that chauffeur, and plus 10% of the actual cost of car or higher charges, whatever may be that will be termed as the value of perquisite in case if it is used for the private purpose, personal use. And in case if it is used for mixed one, it is hired by the employee. In that case, running and maintenance borne by the employer and running and maintenance borne by the employee. If it is a small car, if it is a large car, already I have told that. If it is expenses borne by the employer, in case of fully personal use, in that case you have to see the small car and the large car. The amount of expenditure incurred by the employer will be 1,800 and 900 will be the salary of the driver. And in case of large car, the expenditure incurred by the employer will be 2,400 and the driver's salary will be 900. The next one, and with an example it will be more clear. I will explain one by one. Find out the value of perquisites of car provided to the employee and owned by the employer. Underline that if it is owned by the employer, what is the rule we have to follow? Number one, large car. All expenses are borne by the employer. The car is solely used for the official purpose. Number two, the large car, all expenses borne by the employer, which are rupees 60,000 during the previous year. That the car is cost of the car is rupees 2,80,000 and the car is used for private purpose of the employee. Number three, large car meant for private and official purpose, all expenses are borne by the employee. In case of small car, if it is meant for official and it for private, all expenses borne by the employer. Chauffeur is also provided. In that case, what is the condition to be followed? You will see one by one. Small car meant for both official and private, all expenses borne by the employer. Chauffeur is also provided. It is a small car. Small car, in that case, small car, 1,800 is the value of perquisites and the chauffeur salary is 900. So it comes out to 2,700 and for month it is to be calculated for 1 month. In a year it consists of 12 months, it comes out to 32,400. In the fifth condition, it has been utilized for both mixed one. In that case, when he is provided with more than 2 cars, one car to be taken as a personal use and the second car to be taken as a officially used and privately used. Both it has been used. In that condition, we have to calculate like this. First car, only if it is a small car, the small car as a condition, as I told that 1,800 is to be calculated. In the second car, it is being utilized for the private purpose. In that case, the expense of running and maintenance plus 10 cost of the furniture, cost of the car to be taken. So as it is a private use, you have to take only the actual cost of running and maintenance and plus cost of the, cost of car, you have to add, that will be the condition. Next one. The tax-free perquisites. Tax-free perquisites, these are the perquisites which will not be taxable. Number one, medical benefit. And number two, tea or snacks provided in the office, as I said earlier one. Third, free meals provided to the employee during working hours, it will all be exempted. The value of leave travel concession which has been provided in India, it will also be exempted. Next, convenience provided by the employer that has been used by the employee from the place of residence to the place of office use, then it will also be exempted. In case interest free or loan, if does not exceed 20,000, it will also be exempted. That is, it will be free, it will not be taxable. The perquisites which has been given to the government employee who has been posted abroad to do the service, in that case it will also be exempted. And the rent-free house and the convenience facilities provided by a High Court judge and the Supreme Court judge, it will also be exempted. The value of rent-free accommodation provided to the minister, specified officer of parliament will also be exempted. The next one, laptop and the computer given to the employee for official use, it will also be exempted one. The next one, provident fund.
As you all know that it's a provident fund which both the employer, as the earlier the staff has pointed out what it meant by a provident fund. It's nothing but both employer and the employee has to contribute only at the time of retirement or during the service also. If you need any amount, you can take it from the provident fund as a loan. So in that case, there are four kinds of provident fund. One is statutory provident fund, recognized provident fund, unrecognized provident fund, and the public provident fund. These are the four categories. In that certain cases, only the employer and the employee will be contributed. In only one cases, public provident fund, employee alone will contribute. No employer will not contribute any amount in that condition. We'll see one by one. Employer contribution towards the provident fund. In case of statutory provident fund, it will be exempted. In case of recognized provident fund, it will be exempted up to 12% of salary. In case if it is excess of 12% of salary, it will be taxable. In case of unrecognized provident fund, it will be exempted from tax. And in case of public provident fund, the employer will never contribute, only the employer will contribute the provident fund. The next, deduction under section 80C on employee contribution. As I told earlier, it's both the employer and the employee will be contributed. In case of statutory provident fund, it will be available. In case of recognized provident fund, it will also will be available. In case of unrecognized provident fund, it will not be available. And in case of public provident fund, it will be available. That means the employee will also contribute certain amount. The next, interest credited to the deduction under 80C on employee contribution. As I told you earlier, employer and the employee will be contributed. In that case, statutory provident fund, it will be available. In case of recognized provident fund, it will also available. And in case of unrecognized provident fund, it will not be available. And in case of public provident fund, it will be available. That means employee will also contribute that amount. Interest credited to the provident fund. As I told that any amount which has been contributed in that fund, that will give an interest to that. In that case, it will be exempted from tax in case of statutory provident fund, and in case of recognized provident fund, it will be taxable if it excess of 9.5% of that salary, and in case of unrecognized provident fund, it will be exempt from tax, and in case of public provident fund, it will also be exempt from tax. And in case of lump sum amount, a payment at the time of retirement or at the termination of service, in that case, in all cases it will be exempted. Only in case of unrecognized provident fund, it will be taxable. In that case, employer contribution and the interest, it will be taxable under the head salary, and interest in employer contribution, it will be taxable under the head's income from other sources. And in case of public provident fund, it will be exempted from tax.